Charlie Becket is a fast food burger flipper who had just moved to Kentucky trying to seek a better life, before having to experience a broken leg that made it extremely hard to follow through for his desires. However, he finds himself in his prepper friend's home that he has been bunking in, that the world as he knew it had just dipped towards the worse. The zombie apocalypse has erupted, and he fears for his life he thought he never would have at all. Looking through the stockpile of gear, his friend, Mike, who is not home yet, Charlie grabs everything he can to defend himself and then whatever other supplies he can gather to make his way out of town, hopefully with Mike if he can find them. As the scared burger flipper emerges from the house he and Mike shared, he is confronted by the newly risen dead that approach him as he rounds the corner. The knife feels weird in his untrained hands as he dispatches his first zombie assailants. As he looks over the bodies he had just put down by himself, more shambling figures were seen from his peripheral vision, sending a shiver up his spine as he readies his brave heart and pressured mind. After dispatching the cluster of zombies that threatened him, Charlie looks over the clothes of the slain and locates wounds that suggest bites and lack thereof. He takes note of this information before moving on. Entering a neighboring house, he diligently clears it before looting through its contents. Charlie locates a crowbar, a double-barreled shotgun, and more food. As he exits the house, he spots two more corpses that have wounds indicating stab wounds to the brain that remind him that he might not, in fact, be the only one still kicking around. After dispatching two more zombies, he looks them over as he did with the others and comes to a conclusion. Not all the zombies were bit. Not all of them were turned through bites. Choosing to go up the street, he is confronted by more shambling figures that cut his path along the road. Not wanting to face potentially more than he's comfortable with, Charlie tries to cut into the park. As he takes notes of his surroundings, being relatively new to Kentucky and its towns, he does spot familiar faces. Steve and Emma. They also worked in the spiffos that Charlie was employed in. Summoning his courage, the fortified survivor chooses to lay his co-workers to rest. Both of his former co-workers were bitten. Emma, whose was located on the wrist where her watch holds on by threads, and Steve, whose leg had a very nasty looking bite. Recollecting himself, Charlie dispatches three more corpses before seeing a tempting blue van before finding several more zombies swarm for him. Charlie is courageous, but he knows a fight he can't win and retreats. The retreat becomes a full rout as Charlie sees more zombies pursue him at every angle. From the trees, the street, and the houses, nowhere is safe for him. His leg screams in protest, but Charlie does his best to run from the unsuspected horde that now surges toward him. As the burger flipper tries to muster his will to fight more manageable numbers past a thicket of trees, a house alarm blares out and summons the zombies upon him once more. As Charlie grits his teeth, he is just barely faster than the horde behind him as he continues to seek a way to lose the crowd and escape unscathed. Charlie dares to peek at his pursuers, finding only that they remain insurmountable in his current state, and then turning back around to find the forest also infested with the walking dead. Exhaustion, overexertion, and drowsiness grow quickly as the survivor continues to flee the horde. Terror grips his mind as he catches a glimpse of his friend Mike, who was among the horde. Unsure whether it's his exhaustion, panic, or if it was really Mike he saw, Charlie kept pumping his legs forward to get away from them all. He can barely run. His broken leg burned with pain, his lungs were ragged, and they were still right behind him. The survivor heard doubt, fear, and panic ever more clear, urging him to keep running. He needs distance, or to rain to come out of this. And so he chooses to risk the wrath of making the distance between himself and his undead pursuers. Holding out just long enough, Charlie uses the tree to create the distance he needed to pull the zombies away from each other and open the opportunity to lay them low for him to escape. Finally catching a moment of peace, the worn-out survivor pulls himself into a house to rest. As he hears the groans of the zombies inside the house, he is barely able to move a sturdy chair to block the door and crawls into the vacant bed. If anything, he'll know that if the Walking Dead try to get in, he'll hear them coming. His eyes droop, and then close as his exhaustion overtakes him, and his body rests.